and welcome to Modern Toy Fair News, the weekly show that talks about toys. I'm your host, Mr. Modern Toy Fair, and I am joined by the founder of the NECA Illuminati, the YouTube wife, Mrs. Modern Toy Fair, the one, the only, Jamar_Games. How are you this week, Jamar?
Hey, how's it going? I'm doing great. How are you doing, Michael?
I'm good. I like the fabulous entrance there.
Yeah, I just mean the fans are just out here screaming for me, so I had to give them.
Gotta show the love. So for those of you who are worried, we are still live. We didn't do last week's episode because we decided instead to break this episode into two parts and just cover the top stories from San Diego Comic-Con at home, because realistically when we recorded last week it had just started and we wouldn't have had much to talk about. That being said, let's get part one started here, and we are going to start off the same way we do every week, and that is with good old McFarlane news. DC Multiverse is finally getting some fresh faces with the newly announced Lobo, Reverse Flash, and Superboy Prime from, I believe, Crisis on Infinite Earths. No dates or anything like that for those. For the Witcher line, we are getting a new, I believe it is the, let me get the exact name right, because of course he has special fancy titles for it. The Teal Viper armor for Geralt, and then we are also getting Ciri with her Elder Blood powers, followed by the Ice Giant Mirif. I'm just gonna assume. I don't know. I didn't play Witcher more than like a couple hours, so I never even came across one of these big motherfuckers. But all three of these were revealed for the Witcher line. Again, no dates, no pre-orders yet. I have to assume, knowing McFarlane, probably going to be sometime this fall. I will say, I'm getting a little annoyed that McFarlane keeps just pounding them out for Witcher when they have all these other gaming licenses that they ignore. Like, they literally bought up all of the licenses for Bethesda, and so far we've seen, like, Doomslayer, and that's it.
You're only saying that because you're waiting for your Fallout.
I want some goddamn Fallout figures. I want a fucking Vault Dweller. I want a motherfucking Deathclaw. Give me my goddamn Fallout figures. It's been 2 years.
I have to imagine that maybe some of that has to do with like the acquisition by Microsoft, and maybe they're like, whoa, we don't want you to release things yet or something.
They're like, whoa, it has to be
Witcher is,
exclusive
like,
to Microsoft.com.
No, not necessarily that, but maybe they're like, we want to kind of like roll things out closer to game releases or something like that.
Well, in that case,
But
we'll never get them.
Witcher is like hot right now. Witcher is hot. You got like the new updates coming. You got news about the anime, the show. So they're trying to get that wave right now with the Witcher figure. So I get the frustration though. But
Witcher
yeah,
sucks. I said
it. There's a lot of people out there who's still fans, and a lot of people becoming new fans just from watching the show on Netflix. So I feel like that's part of the reason. But I agree. It seems like it started with one thing, and then they just keep going like bam, bam, bam.
Yeah,
bam.
like,
It's surprising.
I feel like the only reason why they're still doing Mortal Kombat figures is because Spawn's in Mortal Kombat. If it wasn't for that, I feel like it'd just be Witcher 24/7 on the video game side of things. Like, the thing that drives me even more crazy is they literally created an Instagram account for McFarlane Toys Gaming, and I don't think it's been touched in over a year. Like, they announced this stuff on their normal Instagram and ignore the one. They're like,
I was gonna say technically this isn't gaming, but now I realize it's the Wild Hunt, so that's Witcher 3.
Yeah,
so it is 100%.
It's not the Netflix series. It's 100% gaming. That being said, as much as I bitch about Witcher and didn't like the game, the Ice Giant looks fucking cool as hell.
I was gonna say it reminds me of some of the, I think they were called Ice Giants or something like that in a game that you sadly didn't play. It was God of War 2018, and
I'll get
that would
to
be
it.
awesome if someone could make some stuff with that. Maybe McFarlane can buy that license and exploit the hell out of that. But this kind of gives me a vibe, and if I had a Kratos, if this was in kind of a good scale, I'd probably get this as like a villain, and people wouldn't know the difference.
I mean, depending on how big it would need to be compared to Kratos, I believe this is going to be 10 inches tall, I think.
Oh.
Because I think this is a part of
scale, but
this is part of the Mega line that they're doing, where like Darkseid and Steppenwolf. So I think he's 10 inches.
Okay.
He might be bigger, but I think that's the like designated scale for those. But
Kratos
also
is NECA, so you know it's going to be.
Like well, even if Kratos was McFarlane, both do 7-inch lines.
That's fair.
So it would scale either way.
I don't have a Kratos. That would be the idea for this.
You technically had the chance to, but you let Jason beat you to the punch.
We'll talk about that later, Jason.
More importantly, I'm just excited they're finally doing Reverse Flash. I've been preaching for months that I need some Reverse Flash goodness in this line, and they're finally delivering it. And he looks so good. Like that new head sculpt on there, with the angry eyes and just the scowl, and I'm so excited.
I was surprised that you didn't have more of a pop for this, but I guess you had to get that.
Oh yeah, I had to get my anger out before I could be happy.
But yeah, it's really cool. I have to admit something. I'm so confused with like this DC Multiverse line, and there's just constantly stuff coming out, and then I'm like, has this been released yet? Are we still showing things that are coming in the future? It just seems to be a lot of stuff in the Multiverse. It's hard to keep up on, and I'm actually just happy I'm not like, have to like get all of them, because I feel like this would be a messy situation.
I would hate to be a completionist for this line, because I feel like this line's gonna, by the end of it, have more figures out per year than Marvel Legends with the way they do things.
It's just constantly new shit, but I mean, it's good.
I think the biggest thing is like they'll announce something, everyone will get excited, and then like for the most part the hype dies down because they've announced something else, and then the shit will just show up in stores when they were like, oh fuck, I forgot this was coming out. Like people are starting to find the Dark Knight Returns Armored Batman in stores. I'm like, oh, I forgot we talked about that like a month or two ago. Like, yeah. Still not a fan of it, but I just one of those things where it's like I'm shocked that it's already out. Like I figured it'd be like, oh, next like maybe Christmas time or something like that.
No, just shows up.
And we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the big man. I mean, this Lobo figure's pretty fucking cool. I will say I wish his hair was a little bit longer, or maybe just differently styled. I don't know if this is just what he looks like currently, or if it was just they wanted to make sure that you could move his head. So they're like, sorry, Lobo, you have to go to the salon. But I'm excited for it. It looks fucking cool, and he's got the chains around his forearm with the big-ass hook coming down. Like, the only thing missing is his fucking motorcycle. Big old space hog.
You imagine that's probably coming, right?
I mean, knowing McFarlane, probably, because they do, but because they always do the vehicles separately. Like, they have the White Knight Batcycle that's coming out next month, and they did the Dark Knight's Death Metal Batcycle, and they did the Bat Raptor, which is this weird tricycle. I'm noticing a theme with it's always bat things, so maybe Willow won't get his motorcycle.
Maybe not. It is rock, and I like when I see the gray arms, it just kind of reminds me of the Darkseid. Like, you think could this be parts reused or
I don't know, because Darkseid has a lot of texture to him.
Yeah, that's
like
fair.
His skin is very like bumpy
smoother
and gross, where this seems a little more smooth, a little more comic booky. So
makes sense.
That looks cool. I'm just trying to think of who this might be 100% new molds, because I can't think of any of the parts on there that could have been reused at this point. Because the clothing stuff and the boots definitely can't. The vest definitely not. The arms, I can't think of anybody who would have had like normal arms that were that big at this point.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it is 100% all new tooling. I believe this is also part of the Mega line, so he's supposed to be a little bit bigger than everyone else.
I can definitely get it from like the photos. He looks a little bit bigger.
So yeah, I'm super excited for that. As far as like Superboy goes, it's an interesting choice.
I guess interesting is the best way to describe it.
Yeah, like I get that, pivotal part of certain stories, but I don't know if there was a huge like outcry for this character at this point in the line. Like this probably could have been something like a year or two from now, like when they're deep diving into it. But at the same time, he pumps out so many figures. I don't think it matters. It's not like this is really taking the space from anyone, because there's probably gonna be 3 more waves coming this within a 2-month span of this figure coming out. So
right. That's fair to say. I guess that makes it to where if you're a fan, you get kind of like everything. Like, you know how sometimes I'm a fan of a certain line, I'm like dying out, like praying that they make one of those weird fringy things, and then you may not get it. Whereas you're gonna get whatever, you know.
I mean, you're gonna get whatever the fuck Todd decides at this point. Like,
I feel like
he sits in his office.
He hits everything.
He does.
Everything.
He's just like, oh, you know, it'd be cool, guys, if we did Superman Prime or Superboy Prime from Earth One. Like, yeah,
that's why they're #1 on every episode for news. It's because it's always something.
It's always something. If it's not a legit thing that they've like full announced, it's leaks from overseas because they put up pre-orders across the pond months before they announce shit. Like the Reverse Flash, we talked about that back in, I want to say, May.
Yeah.
Being like a pre-order in overseas. So I'm just like, damn, like why? I mean, I guess, yeah, you want to get your orders in so the factory can keep up, but fuck, man, at least just put a picture up at the same time or something. Moving on to another company that's going to give Jamar all sorts of weird goodies over the course of the next 6 months to a year. NECA started off Comic-Con week with their hour-long live stream revealing quite a bit, including new looks at the Back to the Future 1985 Doc Brown and the Griff from 2015, followed by the Boys, who we got to see Black Noir in an unpainted prototype, and then they confirmed that A-Train will be joining him in Wave 2. And then for the Universal Monster Wave, we got a look at the upcoming Mummy figure, which seems to be in black and white, that was teased in NECA's profile picture a month or two ago. And after that, we got exciting Gargoyle news. We got a much better look at Demona with all of her accessories, followed by the reveal of Thylog, which was kind of a big surprise. And then, of course, what everyone's been waiting for, we've got all the TMNT news. So, handful of announcements, both, you know, some things that we've kind of knew were coming but we haven't seen, and then some things that are completely, you know, caught us off guard. Starting off with the con exclusives. So, Walmart is going to be getting the new Super Shredder, who is all purple this time and has an updated belt to make him look more like a professional wrestler, because Kevin Nash was Super Shredder. He should be hitting Walmart's, I believe they said this September. And then the bigger teased Comic-Con exclusive from the 2 line is the Channel 6 news crew of Cat, April, Vern with scared head, Irma with swappable rat parts, and Bernie. And along with that, you get the Channel 6 skyscraper packaging, so you can have it in the background, which folds out to make the studio, which then you also get cameras and lights to set it all up as like a diorama piece. They did put this set up on the NECA store with some limited stock. It sold out pretty quickly, and it was a little bit more expensive. It was $175, and it came with a bunch of knickknacks that most people didn't want. However, they are going to have just the set by itself here at Targets this fall with a rumored price of either $125 or $150. It has not been confirmed yet, at least nothing I've seen. As for announcements, they announced the new Casey Jones Ultimate figure with both masked and unmasked head, along with a separate mask you can hang from the weapons in his golf bag. Casey's also going to have single joint elbows this time to fix the weird sausage look of the previous figure's elbows. And then for the movie line with Secret of the Ooze, we are finally going to get the updated Secret of the Ooze Shredder with the purple gi and the buzzsaw helmet and even like the more pointy shoulder pad look. And it comes with a sword and a few other accessories they talked about that they couldn't pack with the original Shredder just because of cost reasons. And then coming to the Toon line, we got some better looks at some stuff and then off some new announcements. First, we got to see the 2-pack we already knew about with Anthrax and Scumbug, followed by looks at Dirtbag and Ground Chuck, which Dirtbag can come apart at the waist and be set up like he is coming out of his little mole hole accessory. And then we got the reveal of Wingnut and Screwloose. Then, after they got done talking about the Toon line, they ended the stream with the tease of the Toon, Toka, and Razar figures. But if you're a Mirage fan, do not feel left out because we finally got some news regarding the revival of that line. And that was with a teased silhouette of Fugitoid with zero information or even confirmation that it is Fugitoid aside from being able to tell from the silhouette. So yeah, most of the stuff, no pre-orders, no real information aside from potentially this fall, potentially by the end of the year, at Target, at Walmart. Some stuff's going up on NECA store potentially. Like it's all subject to change with NECA, so you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt because some of the stuff was supposed to have already been out and some of it has like been delayed and even we'll talk about it more in next week's episode, but they've also surprised people with some of the NECA store offerings compared to previous. So I'm gonna, you know what?
What do you want to get into?
This is a lot, so I'm gonna let you dealer's choice. What do you want to go for first?
With McFarlane, even though you had something that made you pop, you went for the rant first. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I get the new Casey Jones, right? I get it. I totally get it. But it just rubs me the wrong way a little bit after like the hunt that I had to find the 2-packs. A nice heartwarming story and it paid off. Mm-hmm. But then you get this revised version with, removable mask and then of course, or well, not removable mask, but swappable head with mask that is, dangly or whatnot. And I almost feel like this could have just been, I could be wrong. This could have just been sold as an accessory pack. $15, you sell the head and that. I get making a whole new figure because you want to take a part of like, we have the license officially now or whatever to have the face. But for someone who already bought this, I don't want to buy the figure again. Like,
so this
it's just a bummer.
I 100% agree. It is kind of like a little too late kind of thing.
Yeah. And it was just a year ago. It's not like this has been like
this was
4
literally
years.
in the thick of it of fucking last year. So like it wasn't like it was like double stressed out. I think this is a situation where they could have done an accessory pack, but they would have had to probably pack it with a bunch of other movie stuff because they aren't going to do just a $20 Walmart accessory pack. So that would have been a challenge. And then also the idea of, well, you know what? Fuck it. Let's give them another figure because realistically, there's probably someone out there who still hadn't found one or refused to pay eBay prices or missed out on the NECA pre-order because, there was fucking 3 ways to get it by the end of it. Or 2, people might want to, have one with mask, one without mask. But then you have to choose which one has to have. Oh, I agree. I mean, I'm gonna say right now, I only want this for the fucking dangling mask. I'm gonna take his golf bag and all the weapons, put it in the corner of the sewer layer with the mask hanging off it, and it's gonna be like, oh yeah, that's a tribute to our friend who died. Like, I have no interest in the figure itself. I mean, hell, my fucking NECA movie turtles are just substitute IDW turtles at this point. Like, they're all wrapped up, and I have a custom shredder. So, like, I just want the fucking mask and the weapons like that. So if anyone's looking for, a Casey with the two heads, I'll be getting rid of that as soon as I find one. If, I guess, is the better question.
Well, I don't want to spend too much more time talking about Casey Jones, but again, how about this? Here's the solution. So the head, the dangly mask, and fucking April's yellow jacket as an accessory pack on the website for people who really wanted it and give someone opportunity that way. I get it. I'm talking.
I mean, we'd be waiting until like 2023 if that was the case, because those jackets are so hard to make. Soft goods, man.
It just, I don't know. It bums me out. I'm probably gonna try and find it if I come across it, but I definitely won't hunt for it. But it is just whatever. But anything, things that make me,
even for your YouTube husband.
Oh, I thought you were just assuming. Well, and here's the other thing I want to say about all of the things, like all the turtle things and even some of the other stuff. It's cool that they've been using the website more, so that may relieve some of the stress. If I could just hop on and find this, then I won't be as mad, but I'm still mad. But okay, I guess I will be hunting Walmarts again. Just kill me now.
Only because my Walmarts don't carry NECA figures. They don't carry, like, they barely carry the McFarlane figures. Like, I haven't seen a DC McFarlane figure in my Walmart, aside from that stupid Batman Who Drowned, or whatever the fuck it was called, for 3 or 4 months.
Well, enough about McFarlane. There's a lot more here to cover. Things that made me really, really excited. I guess I finally got what I asked for.
You did.
I've been saying this for how long have we been recording? Has it been a year?
It's been over a year. We celebrated our year anniversary a few weeks back. I've
been demanding from NECA to give me some weird stuff. Although these aren't my, hype dream next mutation turtles, I got next year for those. But I finally can get, Bernie and Irma. I'm a little this sucks because I have to buy now another April, but granted it's Cat April, and then you get a new face for
Vern.
Wait, what did I just say?
You said Bert.
Vernon, yeah. Vernon. No, I said Bernie, yeah. Well, Bernie also has like a mad face as well.
Yeah, he has a swappable head, yeah.
I kind of like this set. I'm like 50-50 with it. I like really, really love the set for the characters. I don't want all the extra shit though. I know that's probably like blasphemy, but like I don't want like the camera and light switch because I don't really normally set up. I don't have a lot of space. Maybe in the future I might, but I just don't have a ton of space for my figures and the way it's shelved and displayed right now. So those extra scenes aren't like super useful to me right now. And so that 150, hopefully it's 125. It's gonna hurt because I'm paying that much for basically no turtles. Yeah. And that seems like it's gonna hurt, but I'm still probably gonna do it. You lit up a little bit, so maybe
I'm just thinking maybe we can work out a little deal ski for some accessories, cut down some of your costs.
Okay.
So me. I hear the word accessory and I get rock hard. So like,
I did pick up a thud sound in your background. You might want to check and see.
I'll have to edit that audio out.
But yeah, so I'm still excited for that. The new Channel 6. It's just cool that this even exists. So I'm happy about that. And then another thing turtle related that I absolutely popped for is the ground chuck, and like just seeing that figure, just cool. It's scaring me though, because these are so expensive in a sense, and these are all the Playmate Turtles toys that I own already. Like I literally have mostly every affordable single side character you could possibly have in Playmate in boxes under my shelves, and I don't want to run down this rabbit hole with NECA doing all the same things, but that's awesome. Like ground, it just looks cool, like the colors and stuff pop. And then who else was I excited? Oh, well, yeah, the 2-pack Dirtbag. Like the fact that this is what the kind of display shit I like, because I could put that on a shelf and that will look fucking awesome. And I give me that. Another thing, I feel like I've just been talking forever. fucking Fugitoid, like, please give me that. That's really
Oh man,
exciting as
right?
well. I hate though that we don't have any information, but the fact that we know that that's coming and more Mirage stuff is coming, I'm super excited about that. I feel like I'm being rushed off the stage at the end of the Oscar
I'm not
speech.
doing the
No,
rushing. You're
I'm just teasing you. What else do I want to cover in this? What? Yum, 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 yum. Okay, Wingnut. I'm good with this. I like this figure. Again, these are ones when I saw this, and then I also saw the Anthrax and Scumbag.
Mhm.
It kind of gets, that's where I got that worry of like, am I gonna just buy all of the figures from NECA that I already own from Playmate? Is that what's gonna happen? And I'm really really afraid of that. So
I mean, I assumed that was going to happen anyway, because you originally were like me, where you were like, you could have get a little bit of the deep cuts, where I wasn't going to get any of them. But I feel like you've gone balls deep. Like, there's very few of
well,
these 2-packs that you haven't bought yet.
the problem is I didn't expect to have so many.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of doing this in the sense of like, oh, well, they're probably going to switch to something else. They
Oh
haven't done
no, man.
Mirage in a while. They are going for everything in the tune.
Yeah, they will
And
not stop until is done, and then they'll just fucking do like color swaps and
re-release.
shit. Yeah, and re-release shit for they can keep this shit going for probably 2 more
Oh, God.
decades. We'll be
God.
we'll be ready to retire, and they'll still be pumping out Toon Turtle shit.
Well, if they're still pumping out Toon Turtle shit, I'm not going to be retiring anytime
True.
soon.
Lucky for me, I'm pretty much done. I've got like 1 or 2 here and there, but NECA ain't got a hold of my balls for the turtles anymore.
I will say though, like getting these are like a more updated version of like the ones that I have, because they're the Playmate, but they were made for the tunes. But then the cartoon characters were made off of the Playmate figures, and they were making, anyways. Like I'm excited to get an updated version of these. That could possibly push me to maybe selling my Playmate stuff.
True.
I said it, but
Hey
I
man,
don't know
out
if
with
that'll
the
ever.
old, in with the new.
Yeah,
I
I
purge
kind
shit
of feel
regularly.
that keeping the turtles, but maybe like all of the side characters and stuff. But I don't know that
Well,
this
especially
whole tune line is
between
cool.
this and Super 7, like by the end of it,
Right.
you're gonna have 3 of every character. So like,
Yeah, that's the worrisome. That's the part that I'm worried about. But speaking of 3 of every character, more Super Shredder, more.
Jesus
Which,
Christ, yeah, like the Super Shredder thing. I'm just like, I get you want to make the money off the mold, and you're trying to find ways to get more people Super Shredder, but people don't want these fucking variants. They want the Super Shredder from the movie.
right?
So they're like, we'll
It's
give you the Shadow Super Shredder that was, the mail-in toy, and then we'll give you this weird all-purple Super Shredder, who, like, in pictures looks metallic, but then they did solicitations, and he doesn't look metallic, so I don't know what the fuck's going on with him. But either way, he's all purple all the time, which normally I'd be down with,
yeah.
but I'm just like,
I'm just like,
damn.
I'm more like enough already with the fucking Shredder, or the Super Shredder at least. I do like the other Shredder that we got as well.
Yeah,
And
that one's at least a little, because it's a whole new mold for the most part.
Yeah,
Like, you've
yeah.
got maybe the head, like the face is probably the same. Maybe, I don't know if they updated the scratches or not. I can't remember.
I can't tell from this close, or from this picture, but
Well, I think they showed it off briefly without the mask, but I couldn't find any pictures of it, so I was just like, fuck it, I'll just do one picture and be done with it. But yeah, because the entire upper torso is new sculpt-ish. The helmet's all new sculpt. He's got that new, like, weird, like, sword and sheath that he didn't have before. So at least with this one, I feel like you're getting more to go with it, because it's a different Shredder from a different movie versus just being the same figure for a third time with a thicker belt and a different shade of paint.
I can't wait for the 4th one. He's gonna be even more purple.
I mean, the fourth one
to his nipples.
The 4th one better be black and white with NWO spray paint on it and some Too Sweet hands. If they're that obsessed with Kevin Nash that they're like, let's give him a thick world title belt, and it's like, what? Like, I get the idea behind it, but I feel like you're going
like
too
an
Playmates
homage.
at that point. You're going too much into like weird stupid shit of, like, even back with the old Batman figures, like, it's jet ski Batman and ice skater Batman. Like, no.
Yeah, just stop it. We need a water bottle to spray.
Yeah, spray Randy whenever he gets out of line with this crazy shit.
But I mean, I feel like that overall kind of gives you a a perspective where I'm coming from for the turtle stuff. I didn't even mention like the Toka and Razar just because I didn't get the movie ones. So like I don't know if I'm gonna get the toon ones. I don't know.
I forgot they were even in the fucking cartoon. I had to look it up.
I agree. I was wondering the same thing. Obviously, I haven't watched that in ages, but I kind of thought to myself, are they making this up? But yeah,
when they showed off, I'm like, wait, are they just making Playmates figures? Like, 'cause the way they look real dopey.
Oh yeah.
And then I looked it up. I'm like, well, they were at least in an episode at one point, so
Not fair.
good on them. They probably did this solely because like they're what, that motherfucker on that show buys all the cartoon shit, but he's not buying the fucking movie figures anymore.
Yeah, that's
so we best get him some other way. They're like, first we're going to give him this fucking 4-pack that he willed into existence and then instantly regretted. And then we're going to get him with Toka and Razar either way.
I can't wait though for the Neca Toon line to start having like the random civilians that were in the show.
Oh yeah, it's going to happen at some point. They're going to be like, we're going to give you random people to build out your street, Dio.
I can't wait for that.
But they'll give them actual names that they'll somehow get from the fucking like credits of the show or something.
In the credits, yeah. This is
Jeffrey Jeffrey Jones.
But yeah, that sums up my excitement for that. But that's not all that I was excited about. All the turtle stuff, surprisingly, right?
Yeah.
Well, you probably are thinking Gargoyles. But...
Oh yeah, I'm ready to go. Like holy shit, I wasn't gonna get Demona. I was just gonna get like the main 5 and maybe if they did stone variants of them. But then they showed her off and I'm like, damn, that fucking light blue and that purple pop, and she looks so cool.
Yeah.
And then they also showed off Thylaug and I'm like, fuck, okay. They've got me for all of them. It's gonna happen.
My question is how well, I mean, I know the size of the figures is gonna be, NECA's normal scale, but those wings,
that's gonna be the problem. I'm gonna have to hang these bitches from the ceiling or something because they have like 12-inch wingspans. Like, how am I supposed to fucking pose that on my shelf? I mean, hell, fucking Captain Falcon back here with his big ass wings has to like be on a flight stand just to be out of the way, so that way he's not knocking people off the shelf.
It's really cool to see. I'm excited for those to start hitting the stores. We don't know anything else about, like, is this going to be Walmart, Target?
No, as of right now, because Randy actually did an interview with Floosh last week, and he talked about some of the turtle stuff, but he did touch on the Gargoyles. As of right now, their goal is Gargoyles to be 0 exclusivity. It's going to be widely opened. You can pre-order it from Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth. You can go to Walmart, go to Target, local comic book shops, anywhere you can buy NECA figures. You should be able to find the Gargoyles. He said that right now they have 8 more figures currently prototyped and planned. Plus, then they have several more beyond that they're like working out the kinks of figuring out what they want to do. So I have to assume we'll get the main 5, probably get a couple more villains, and then I have to assume they'll update the sculpts and make stone versions of them, so you can have the like daytime versions of the Gargoyles, which I think would be dope. I know I was talking to Jake about it, and he was like, oh, but that would make no sense for them to be, statues, but be posable. I'm like, what are you talking about? Literally in the show, sun comes up no matter what they're doing. If they're, sneaking around on the street, if they're fighting someone, banging it out around the corner, like, they turn to stone. That sunlight hits them, and it's good game.
But you're right.
That works out perfect.
Yeah, I get from what he's like. I can understand where he's coming from with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that gives you the freedom to do some cool shit with it, with them being posable. So I ain't mad at that.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to see if that happens.
Yeah, I can't wait for Goliath to come out. Like, I'm just like, I think it's supposed to be next month, and I'm just like, come on, give it to me. Give it to me. Like the Joker in Dark Knight. I'm like, hit me.
Outside of Gargoyles, of course, super excited. I was really, really, really excited to see who was coming in the next wave for the boys. And Black Noir, I'm good with that.
Yeah. And
A-Train, let's go.
Yeah.
That was one on my list for sure. I like that they are representing the black people.
Well, I think Black Noir is only black in name. I don't think I don't
I'm
think.
joking. I'm joking. I just couldn't resist making the joke. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. I do hope that like because I don't hate the figures now, like the Homelander and who do I have? Oh,
Starlight.
Starlight. Yeah, I I don't know. My brain's not working fully functioning right now, but they're they're good. They could be a little bit better. So I'm hoping that maybe they'll get tighten it down a little bit. I'm really curious to see how they're gonna do this A Train because
Yeah, that
it
was
could
one
turn
thing
out
that
really good,
I was kind of disappointed that they didn't have a prototype ready for A Train yet.
which is surprising, seeing that it's in the same wave.
Yeah, because
Like
you
if
think,
they're
I mean, granted,
dropping,
if Noir is this like far away from coming out that he's not even got a painted prototype yet,
yeah,
I have to
which
assume that we're probably not going to see Wave 2 until next year.
is also kind of surprising too, though. Like, is it you're just gonna do one wave a year? I guess that's
I
kind
think
of
that's
normal, but
risky because, I mean,
yeah,
you're relying on people with the affordability of it or loyalty of it. Because if you wait too long and Mafex starts coming out with their line and they knock it out of the
true,
park, you're going to lose a lot of potential customers.
yeah.
Because, like, if fucking Homelander and Billy come out next year and we don't even have a Billy yet for NECA, then that's good game. I'm not getting the NECA boys figures anymore because I'll have the two main characters I wanted
Yeah,
from that are going to be the better versions.
but you
Because
also said if it comes out next year, so we'll see.
exactly, it's Mafex. It's so
We'll
like
see.
it could be next year. It could be when we retire, and well, when I retire because you'll still be buying Toon Turtles.
Toon Turtles.
Uh,
I'm on Jonathan Variant 3.
this time he has a green shirt.
um, but yeah, I that was the only bummer. It was exciting to know who's coming in the wave, but it also was like, damn it, it's gonna be that much farther away.
Mhm.
But it is what it is. I mean, I got excited about a future toy that we don't even
Yeah, future show that we don't even get to see. We just get to see
They're like,
silhouette
whoa.
of.
I'm totally sorry, guys. We did not mean to give you the impression that future toy is coming. We were actually just showing off the chain link fence.
Hey,
Like,
I'd be down for that too. They want to start selling dios of like random hallways and shit. They ain't gonna get my turtle money, but they'll get a lot more money that way from me. Um,
I'm trying to think. There's so much that.
we didn't
Well, I
talk
guess
about
we
the
could
Back
talk
to the
about
Future
the
stuff yet.
Back to the Future.
So
Yeah,
we've got the 1985 doc, which I think
yeah.
is a nice touch that he comes with the fucking gun.
I
Um,
like it.
that is one thing I love about this is Christopher Lloyd's face is just so animated in these movies that they can do
Yes.
6 different fucking Doc Browns and all of them feel like different figures. Like it doesn't feel like
Yeah.
I'm just getting a costume swap.
And
Um,
they're crushing it too. That's
oh yeah,
big.
that fucking
They're
like
crushing it.
that Doc Brown from 2015 just looks incredible. Like I was
Yeah.
blown away with how well it was, like the face and the portrait was done. And then they did show off Griff,
Yeah.
and he's got a fully painted um, prototype, which
My
didn't
prototype.
surprise me because they teased the baseball bat a few weeks back.
Okay, I thought.
So I was
Okay, I thought so.
I was like, okay, so he's coming, and he's here, and I'm just like, okay, like
Yeah.
it's Griff. I wasn't
Yeah.
really expecting to be blown away by it. It looks good, but I'm not
Yeah.
balls deep in this line, so I don't know that I need it.
I think that's probably the biggest uphill with this line. You have people that are gonna just be, you know, very casual fans of Back to the Future, but still want to get like a Marty and a Doc, right?
Hmm.
But then the extra characters, you kind of have to be a little bit more into the line. So I mean, it's good that they're making those, but you can kind of obviously tell that they're focusing on like Marty and Doc. So
Yeah, which is
it's
smart because that's gonna be
yeah,
where the
it's smart.
money is. You're
Yeah,
gonna
give people what hardcore fans give them that extra
mhm.
little piece. But
Because at the end
yeah,
of the day, my targets don't have any Martys or Docs left, but they have tons of Biffs,
Biff, yeah,
which I'm
I
like,
see the
fucking
same.
clearance out, you cowards! I want that Ooh La La magazine. um,
But I guess it goes without saying the mummy character. This is the last thing.
oh yeah,
It
like
just looks so good. I don't need to buy these monsters.
oh I
It
do.
looks so good. I don't. Well, I mean, I don't really need it, but I do. But I don't. I tried to convince Kristen that like her dad's like a huge fan of like horror and stuff, and I tried to convince her we should just buy these lines for him. but then we just put it on my shelf.
Yeah.
Like, these are yours.
Is this like what you're doing with your kid? You're just like, these are your toys, but I keep them.
Yeah. I don't know if that's gonna work,
I don't think
doing
so. It
that
might
way,
work with a child just because, you have control over that, but I don't think it's gonna go over well if a grown ass man, you're like, I bought this for you, but I'm keeping it.
I just think these would be so cool for like a fan, like just on your bar, or like even if you're not like a huge toy fan,
Mm-hmm.
these just look so good, and I don't know, I dig it a lot. And this one's gonna be a black and white one, right?
Yeah, so this one, at least what we see here, looks black and white to me.
Yeah,
I
thought
guess
this
it
was
could be
just
subject to
prototype.
change. They, in the interview he did with Floosh, Randy did explain the reason why they're not all coming in black and white and color. So apparently the reason why, which I think is a lame-ass reason, is because he doesn't want to delay the release of other figures if they do every single figure in black and white and color. And like, you could literally order 2 sets of every figure painted differently and have them come out at the same time. Like, I may not be an
Or
expert of how things work in like the toy business, but I have a rough knowledge of how a lot of these companies do their bidding and how other companies are able to, like, I'm sorry, you're telling me Marvel Legends can have 6 figures come out every 2 months with a Build-A-Figure, but you can't have two of the exact same molds. So it's not like you're
yeah,
paying an exponential amount to have a second figure made
yeah,
and have one done in black and white. Hell, they could even go the comic book shop route that Diamond and a lot of other companies do, where the black and white ones are PX previews exclusives that are only available through comic book shops and like Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth and stuff. So that way you
so
can
it's
do a
smaller.
lower production run of those than the colored
Yeah.
versions that go to Targets and Walmarts. Like, there was so many options. Like, I get what he was saying, but it seems off to me, knowing how frequently
Easy.
other companies are able to get out more dramatically different things than
Mhm.
2 of the same figure. But he did say there is interest, if there's interest, that they will revisit the idea of reissuing some of them in the opposite of whatever they
Fair.
were. I don't like that because that means I have to wait like 2 years to complete a line of figures.
Yeah.
But like, it is what it is. He also said that the sarcophagus that he's sitting in doesn't come with that.
Okay, I was I was curious if that was like just a part of the box, or
Nope, that's 100% just something they made for the picture they took. Apparently, he is, if there's enough like outcry for it, he is interested in potentially doing accessory packs for these. They seem to really like the accessory packs because of how successful they were with the Turtles. So there was a lot of
Casey Jones. Yeah.
except for Casey Jones. There was a lot of talk of different things that they were wanting to do accessory packs for, because they're doing like one for the Gremlins already. So they're like, yeah, we could do a bunch of others for all these other lines, and one of them was for these lines, but instead of like accessories, like strictly accessories like the Turtles were, they want to do stuff like the sarcophagus for the Mummy, a coffin for Dracula, the operating table for Frankenstein's monster, like playset type accessory kind of things.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that'd be fucking cool. I'd be down for that.
But even more makes the line more intriguing, to be honest with you, knowing that it's a possibility.
Yeah, it's definitely something that opens some doors that I didn't think I needed, but now I do.
Well, either way, you're not getting all of your black and white.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter
5
anyway.
years from now. You'll be looking like the Mummy by the time you get yours.
Yeah,
it's sad.
But oh yeah,
But
so
cool.
back to the whole like can't do 2 of them or it'll slow down the line. Mezco, who does soft goods, up until the world imploded, was doing 2 of the same figure within a month, like within a few weeks of each other, of almost all of the regular releases, because they'd have a PX previews exclusive. Like Flash and Reverse Flash came a week out from each other. Borderline the same figure except for a different head, different color scheme, and the logo was switched. They did Green Arrow and Arsenal both within a week of each other. And those were dramatically different because it was a different head, different like armor pieces in some cases, and then obviously different color scheme. They've done, several Batmans where you get the normal version and the PX version, those were also pretty different as well. So I'm just saying, Mezco is a much smaller company than NECA. Not that NECA's a big, not NECA's Hasbro, but Mezco's like 10 dudes in a warehouse, and then a warehouse that they rent out on the other side of the country. So I feel like it's doable without, you know, delaying everything.
Yeah. Maybe it's coming and they're just working on it, or I don't know.
I mean, Randy did talk a lot about how he like watches what he says, and like on the day of the convention exclusive, he took the day off because he didn't want to, you know, see all the backlash of the site crashing and everything. So you could definitely tell that the internet has worn his ass down. So he may just be like, I'm not saying anything of importance because I don't want it to be used against me in a court of law. So it's very possible that everything we've talked about doesn't matter, and it's all going to come out anyway. And Randy just doesn't want anyone to be like, fuck you, I want it sooner, or fuck you, why didn't you tell us about it sooner, or fuck you, it didn't come out on the date when it came out, or fuck you, the box looked different. Like the internet, as much as we like talk shit about Randy and some of the choices and some of the shit he's said online, like, man, the internet, like if there was like, it's like the bully in A Christmas Story, and he's the bully, and the internet's Ralphie. They're beating the shit out of him on a regular basis, just going, motherfucker, some buff fucker. Like,
I'd love to see his mentions.
Oh, dude, he also talked about like all the hate memes he gets and stuff, and he's just like, yeah, I just didn't want anything to do with it.
That's fair.
Oh man, so yeah, that was it. Was if you don't already, go check out Fwoosh and check out the interview with Randy. It's got a lot of cool information. Not all of it we could go over on the show, so please make sure to go do that. Show them some love. But it's time to move on. I'm sorry, I am trying to turn off my notifications, but of course they updated Windows, and now I can't just mute my shit, so I'm just gonna turn notifications off. Like, fuck everybody. Moving on though. So we've talked about things getting delayed and things taking forever to come out. And what company do we know that does that better than anyone? That's right, Mafex. And they came to the con at home swinging, baby, with a display of both already announced figures and new reveals. So from the boys, we finally got some in-hand looks at the Homelander and Billy Butcher, with the new reveal of another unpainted prototype of Black Noir.
Trolling.
Like, this is some like copy my homework but don't do it too closely shit.
Just paint the character black. Like,
right? Like, just mold it in black. Like, fucking Christ. From the DC side of things, though, we did get a new look at the New Adventures animated Batman with a newly revealed New Adventures animated Joker figure, which is pretty awesome. Followed by the Justice League Snyder Cut Black Suit Superman, and then in-hand looks at the recently announced Cyborg Superman, followed by a Flight Suit Batman and Hush Huntress, and then the unpainted prototype of Hush Nightwing. And then for Marvel, we did get some new stuff with the announcement of a classic Iron Man and Black Suit Spider-Man. And in Mafex fashion, I have to assume it will be a few years before all of this will be available on our shelves. So a lot to unpack here. We already made the jokes. Let's start with the boys. This is what I was talking about, essentially, is like if NECA doesn't, get their shit in line, these figures look pretty fucking sweet, and the proportions look better than the NECA one, and you get the laser eye baby. So like, there's less and less chance that I'm even going to be buying the rest of the boys line from NECA as placeholders. At this point, I think Homelander is going to be a one and done, and I'm going to wait for the Mafex ones because these look great. Black Noir looks cool. I don't know that I need all of the 7. I think
God. Yeah, you die if you do all of
I
that.
think the only thing that would make me get all of the 7 is if they did, and this is a spoiler for the show if you haven't seen season 1, if they did the deep and he comes with a dolphin. If they did that, I'd be like, okay, well, then I'd want the deep figure, which then I'd have to flesh out the entire team. I couldn't just get the fucking creep show and the 2 main characters. Grant, that doesn't mean I'd be like, I want a Huey, because I don't know if I'd want that. I'd buy a Simon Pegg figure, though, if they did his dad.
Exploded girlfriend.
Oh, Huey covered in his girlfriend's guts like that. Okay, now you've got me.
Spoilers for season 1, episode 1. By the way.
Super spoilers there.
I think the laser baby's a spoiler as well. So just by watching that, or just by looking at the photo. Sorry, it doesn't matter. Anyways.
I mean, context is key, and it's a very good scene and very well done. Carl Urban is a fucking incredible actor, so watch it regardless. But yeah, it's definitely a spoiler. So I'm getting these.
I mean, if I wasn't taxed in other departments for toys, this would be the de facto line to do. Like, just hands down. It just looks so good. It sucks, but I mean that's $300 easy.
Oh yeah, because even if they come with lightweight accessories, you're looking at $100 per figure, if not 110 in the States.
Yeah.
You might be able to find it cheaper if you order overseas, but then you're going to pay a shit ton for shipping. So
exactly, that's the only thing. If I want to kind of flush out the entire line, I guess I'm probably still going to stick with NECA in that regards. But I'll be jealous if I see the Mafex ones. I'll be jealous.
So you'll be jealous. You'll be jealous AF come Wednesday at weekly purchases.
Yeah, but sometimes you got to get the Toyota Camry. It's reliable. It's not super flashy, but it gets you to A and B all the time. So that's NECA for me. That's the old Camry. While you're meanwhile driving your fancy Tesla. Just
I don't know if I would call NECA reliable. I mean, there's a 50-50 shot that your figure is gonna break out of the box.
Maybe I shouldn't say reliable, but
they're more of like
dependable.
The Chevy Cavalier. Like, there's a good chance it will last you for a decade or two, but there's also a good chance it's going to break down a lot.
Well, yeah, the Mafex just crushes everything that they kind of do. If you like their scale and you like, because I can understand being not into Mafex figures in some points, but they're just so good.
Yeah. Like there's some figures they have that like the Hush Batman. I love it. I think it looks fantastic. I think he's a little scrawny. Yeah. But that's fair. I still think it's a great figure. And with the newly discovered on Wednesday night weekly purchases live on Twitch every Wednesday 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you would have seen the awesome model kit motorcycle that I got for that now fits the Mafex Batman because it doesn't fit the Mezco Batman because poor planning. But yeah, I think they're great. I do wish that they scaled a little better with other things so you can mix and match, but realistically with how stylized they are with like the articulation, it'd be hard to mix and match with other lines.
Yeah. What else has you popping for this? Because I feel like this is like your segment in a sense.
But like the announcement, like I was already excited for the animated series, New Adventures Batman, but now a Joker, I'm like, fuck me, because like season 4 of that show, when they did the new style and they actually like changed studios and with a studio that does more of like an anime look, that's my season. Like I love it. I love the art style. I love the fact that they time jumped to like Nightwing and Tim Drake and Barbara being like a bigger part, and like some of the choices for the villains like looks are iffy, but like Joker, they think they nailed it. So I'm super excited that you get the Yin to Batman's Yang relatively, I have to assume, soon after, because that Batman still hasn't released. So now that we have a Joker, I have to assume they'll probably come out within a couple months of each other, so at least you won't get too lonely. And then I mean, I'm excited for my boy Nightwing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, oh man, like I've been waiting for a company to give me a good Nightwing figure, and it's a rough time to be had by all.
Had to go out and make your own.
Yeah, most companies do not do him justice. They either make him too weird and lanky, or they don't get the head sculpt right, or they just make him too stylized to look like a certain book. And this, like, it is that definitive Jim Lee art, Hush, Nightwing. And while his shoulders look a little weird, but I think it's just because it's a prototype and they have him posed weird instead of being actually posed. I think once you get the black and the blue and everything, he's going to look incredible. And I cannot wait.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, just from far away, the small thumbnail, I thought, like, are we getting a Killmonger? I was like, is that just because it kind of looks like Dragons a little bit? I was like, wait, what? But yeah, that I figured you'd be pretty pumped for that. I really am excited to see this figure for sure, like kind of like finished, to see that design, because the shoulders do look weird, but when you say like the colors and stuff, I could kind of see it. It just makes his shoulders are kind of like more defined, I guess. So when I don't know, we'll see. I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think once we get full solicitations and he's posed and he's fully painted, he's going to look absolutely stunning. Speaking of posed and painted, I guess not really posed, Iron Man and Spider-Man look dope as fuck. Like, I don't know if I'd want the Iron Man. I just think it looks cool. Like, I'm not a big fan of classic Iron Man, but I think that's the best looking one out of all the ones that have been done. Like, the nice super sleek and smooth armor, like, I think that just really fits that style from like that look. But that symbiote black suit Spider-Man, I'm getting that. Like, that's the point where I'm like thinking about going back and getting Venom and the comic book Spider-Man. Like, that's how good that figure is.
If one thing I think I could attest to is that Mafex kills Spider-Man figures for some reason, just because they like that thin, like, they're so posable. So anytime a Spider-Man figure comes across the table for them, they do a really good job. But yeah, the black suit's dope.
Yeah, really the black suit, like, that's already my favorite, like, Spider-Man like costume. So like the Mezco one's okay, but he's not very posable. So the fact that I could get this one in some crazy ass like positions, and I'm all in. And now I have to go back and hunt down the other Spider-Man figures, because I'm just like, I was already on the fence. Like, I was just like, man, the comic book Spider-Man and that Venom are so sexy, but I'm like, I don't need to get into Mafex. I have too many lines. But fuck.
And I mean, speaking of black suits,
I was actually going to go there next too. Fucking Snyder Cut Superman. I'm like, if I don't find the McFarlane one, I might want this.
Oh, you were looking for that one?
Yeah.
I thought you had him ordered.
Well, I do through Big Bad, but Big Bad, it's going to take like 8 years.
That's true. I think I might. I'm going to go up to Alliance, my Walmart, and see the next day, because when I get a chance, because I swear there were like 4 or 5 of them there.
See, my Target hasn't gotten any new shit from McFarlane, and my Walmart again hasn't gotten any new McFarlane figures since the Batman like drowned figure from fucking spring. So like, I'm just sitting here going like, oh well, I guess we're just not going to see the Snyder Cut figures.
That's the only one I've seen of the Snyder Cut figures, but
yeah, because especially after last night with Wednesday with Pierce's, I definitely want to get the Batman now. I was on the fence before, but now I definitely do, and I definitely want the black suit Superman. I did get my unmasked Batman, and oof, they did Ben Affleck dirty.
Don't spoil Wednesday.
Yeah, I won't spoil weekly purchases, but fuck, like, we want to talk about Mirage treatment. Oof.
He got Mirage. But yeah, these look awesome. I will say, like, I like the McFarlane ones, and again, we're going into the thing of affordability and price. McFarlane wins hands down.
Oh yeah.
But this here, it feels like that Superman's a little bit big. He's like on the tall side. I don't know. Like,
are you talking about the McFarlane or the Mafex?
Yeah, the McFarlane one. The Mafex.
Well, the problem with McFarlane is that they're 7-inch scale, so they all look big.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I mean. It's just more of an optical thing that just feels it like it looks a little bit big, but in scale with the rest of them, it would be fine. Yeah, But yeah, that kind of makes you feel a little bit weird about it. But this looks good. They all look good.
Yeah.
Either way.
I think the thing that really would make me want the McFarlane over Mafex is unfortunately both companies are very 50-50 on the way they do the portraits and the head sculpts and stuff. And I feel like everyone I've seen who's got the black suit Superman, I almost said Spider-Man, has been really happy with how it turned out. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, at least that one we have confirmation that it looks good.
Yeah, that's
Mafex,
true.
it looks good now, but who knows once we get it.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But I guess we probably should talk about the last thing in this line. I really like the Batman with his breathing machine. I didn't know he had sleep apnea.
Sleep apnea Batman?
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's really awesome. No, it's cool. It's really cool. Like the flight suit. I like Batmans when they're thick, if that makes
sense. I mean, I like me some thick Batmans too. You ain't gotta worry about that. I think the thing that I like most about Flight Suit Batman is he has the Rebirth logo, which makes me think, ooh, we might get a Rebirth Batman. And that, ooh, I've been waiting for a company to do a good Rebirth one because McFarlane fucked it up. Mezco's probably never going to do it. And DC Direct/DC Collectibles did them, but they were really like breakable. Like we're talking like NECA looked like a sturdy figure compared to the DC Collectibles figures. Like half of them like had shit that was broken out of the box. Like you take it out and it's like, oh, his wrist peg is snapped and I didn't even touch it yet. Or, oh, his ears are bent inward because they just forced him in the package. Like they like
get the fuck in there.
Yeah. So like if Mafex starts doing some Rebirth figures, oh buddy, I'm gonna be right with you. I'll never be retiring. Huntress looks super fucking cool too. I'm glad that they're fleshing out the Hush line and making sure to get all of the big player characters and some of like the side ones. I would love to see them do Jim Gordon. I think that'd be fucking cool. So I'm excited to see where they go with that. There's one we skipped, and that was the Cyborg Superman.
Oh.
So he was announced, or he was teased a few weeks ago. He was fully solicited last week. Obviously, we didn't do last week's episode because we were waiting to do a big Comic-Con episode. So we didn't get to talk about him. I think they did a fantastic job. There's some people complaining because in a lot of the stories with him, the yellow inside the S is black instead. I think it looks good like this. I think it pops. All the comics I remember seeing him in, I swear it was yellow, but that was also after the Reign of Superman because they kept him around for a long while. So like I mostly remember him from a lot of after that stuff, more so than from the Death of Superman book itself, because when that came out, I was pretty young, so I didn't get to read the Death of Superman stuff. It was just like I occasionally like get comic books when I would be like at the store with my grandparents or something, because there was a local comic book shop, like collectible shop near their house. So it was kind of like, oh, that looks cool. It's a robot Superman. Why not? So for me, that I think this looks great, but I can understand why some people are upset.
Yeah, I feel like I've been seeing this on like just Twitter and just random like people, me coming across it. I don't really follow a lot of like toy news and stuff, so I guess that would mean that it's probably got a pretty good decent buzz then.
Nah, you retweeted the show once, so now Twitter just thinks you like toys.
It wasn't an ad. No. But yeah, it looks cool. I don't know pretty much anything about what's happening in this situation. Like, where did Cyborg?
I mean, long story short, Superman gets killed by Doomsday, and then
like death is,
and then a bunch of other like versions of Supermen take his place. There's Cyborg Superman. There's Eradicator, which is a like android cyborg type thing that comes from, I believe, the Fortress of Solitude to be like a temporary Superman until they can revive him. There's Superboy, and I want to say there was a couple others, but I can't remember. So it became the reign of the Supermen because there was a bunch of like rogue Supermen going around doing what they thought Superman would do, and it just became a big mess. And he was really the only one that stuck around. Like Superboy kind of did, but they eventually like replaced him with other versions of Superboy. And I think Cyborg Superman actually ended up just becoming like a villain at some point to be like, hey, here's just an evil version of Superman. Why not?
I mean, he kind of does look like a villain, to be honest. So I'm
He
profiling
does. He
sorry.
doesn't look very friendly. Like if he came to get my cat out of a tree, I'd probably shit my pants. Um, moving on. So we talk about, villains. Well, we're going to end the show with some Mattel news, which is very rare for us. And
Yes.
with that Mattel news, it's some WWE news, which is even more rare from us. And that's because they started a new Mattel Creations crowd-funded WWE New Generations Real Scale playset. And once it hits 5,000 backers, it will be fully funded, and you will unlock the real scale ring that for the first time ever has actual like boards underneath the ring mat, just like the actual ring is built. The mat also hooks underneath the ring separately from the canvas, which no other WWE ring has done before. And you get the WWE Ultimate Diesel figure, and you get the New Generations entranceway, which does light up and has different light up like sequences depending on like different settings for different wrestlers. So you can have it like set up for like how it would have been for Diesel, or how it would have been for like Shawn Michaels, or how it would have been for this next character that you will get once you unlock 7K backers, which is the Ultimate Doink the Clown figure. And then once you reach 8K backers, you also unlock swappable WrestleMania and in your house ring skirts. This set will cost $250, and the crowdfund promotion ends on August 22nd. Last time I checked, it's currently at 20% backed, and it's been up for, well, I guess by the time you're watching this, a week, because it started last Friday. So I'm not gonna lie, I've kind of moved on from wrestling figures. Like I have like my Ultimate Hollywood Hulk Hogan, and like there's a couple here and there that I'm like, okay, if they come out with an Ultimate Kevin Nash, I'll get it because he's like one of my all-time favorites. Diesel's about as close as I'm gonna get at the moment, it seems, because they've announced the next like 4 waves of Ultimates, and he's not in it. But the ring having the boards underneath it and like being set up like an actual ring, like sploosh. My chair was soaked. I'm like, I don't even collect wrestling figures anymore, and I am so aroused by this announcement that it's just unrealistic right now. So I think I might back this.
Like I don't blame you. This again, I'm a 90s wrestling fan, so I'm very casual, This is like, holy crap, this is so awesome. Like the light up entranceway is just amazing. Again, like you said, like all the details of the ring, like you basically just pull this all apart, like build it. That's really cool. That's really cool. I also did some math here. For 8,000 backers.
Oh yeah, okay. You're gonna be one of the people on the internet who's butthurt at what we're getting.
No. I'm just saying, like, it's incredible that it has this much detail, because they would be looking to bring in like $2 million, right? So that is why you're getting so much detail and customability. I don't know. That's a word. I just made it up. But that's why you get like so much detail in this, and I love this. I'd love to see things like this for a property that I'm into, because all you need is just people to back it.
Yeah, like HasLab is the fucking greatest thing ever. Like you can either be like, I fucking need it, and you can order it and get it, or you be like, I don't, and it's not detrimental to your collection. So like this, I'm so for it. Like I was already kind of on board, because I'm like, okay, they didn't announce an Ultimate Kevin Nash, so he's not coming. Diesel, however, simple head swap with a Kevin Nash figure and put an NWO shirt on him. Boom. Close enough. I've still got some Too Sweet hands in a bin somewhere, I'm sure. So like, easy peasy. Doink is a cool addition. I like that he comes with like the mallet and a couple like different heads to like show off the different like eras of Doink.
Yeah.
But I think the real star of this is the ring. The fact that it gets put together like the real ring does. It actually like has this for the first time for a WWE ring. The skirt and the ring mat are separate, which that was always a big complaint with people, is because the ring mat would always kind of like be floating on top of the plastic and bunch up, and like unless you ironed it down or like you tightened it or something, it just always looked real like toy-ish and kind of shitty. So the fact that this one actually hooks under the ring and is going to be tight to the boards, like, fuck. And then you got the fabric like turnbuckles and the ropes and everything. I'm like, the only thing I don't like about this is the fact that it's like early era WWE, because I was a 90 kid as well, but for me, I was a WCW kid, so like NWO and all that was where I was, so I didn't get to WWE until Attitude Era.
Yeah.
So like I was used to the scratch logo and the more modern look. I do think the entranceway is really fucking cool with the light up though.
Yeah. I feel like maybe that's where they kind of started with the entranceway and thought, well, this is the era that we have to go with. However, the way the side skirts are removable, could that, possibly come in the future of new side skirts for different shows or like that's a possibility.
Oh,
it
yeah,
wouldn't
100%.
be
Like,
exactly the same, but like, yeah.
There's a lot of options here. There are other like companies that do license like ring skirts for the old rings that they do.
So you're
so
for sure
it's very possible that you could get them. It's just a matter of like it sucks that you have to get that separately kind of thing. Like I get why they did it. It makes sense because the Ultimates line, they have to stay at least kind of modern. Like they usually do like one legend and then one modern guy. So it'd be a while before we'd get a Diesel or a Doink because they're going to be doing a lot of the bigger like characters like Hogan.
Yeah.
Like we're already getting a second version of him, and we're only a couple years into the Ultimates line. So I can see why they went this direction, and it was also an easier Titantron entranceway to do because it's just that little square thing versus being a giant fucking screen.
Oh, for sure.
Which Mattel has teased in the past at previous cons. They've had that set up, and they said if the internet makes enough noise, they will make one. And I'm hoping that if this crowdfund goes well, that means that they'll finally go back and do that, because it was like to scale. Like it was massive.
That would be insane.
And I was like, that's fucking cool. I wouldn't get it because it would probably be like $500, and
where are you gonna put it to?
I have nowhere to put it. I have enough fucking shit. But this is small enough that I might do it. I might do it. If nothing else, I'll do it for the Nash and like trade off the rest. But I think I'm gonna put the ring together and I'm gonna fucking be like soaked and have to keep it.
Quit telling me how soaked you are.
I'm just so moist for this set.
Intermission.
But that is going to be it for part 1 of our Comic-Con at home coverage. So please make sure to check out part 2. They come out on the same day, so you literally will probably just have to click a button and switch to the next video. But in the meantime, make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Modern Toy Fair. Jamar, let everyone know who doesn't watch weekly purchases about what's going on with Why Are You a Gamer?
Oh, yeah. So Why Are You a Gamer, of course, first and foremost, is an amazing podcast that features me and yours truly, Michael, for one episode. But I was basically on a journey last year to find out why do we play video games. I actually went from earlier 2019 or late 2019 to 2020. Yeah. And I went on this amazing journey listening to gamers across the globe, actually. I'm lying. It was United States. I'm sorry. I oversold
if you at least had someone from Canada, you probably got away with it.
Oh, I did actually.
Well, so, there you go. Yeah, you're live and worldwide, baby.
But it was amazing fun, and I had a child and trying to get back into the swing of recording a podcast weekly. Wink, wink. This show. I've decided now, in an attempt to get me back into the swing of things, there's a video game that I absolutely love, and this is part of the reason why I'm a gamer. I'm going to start streaming on twitch.tv/Jamar_games. That's right. You can come see me play video games with Michael and the rest of the gang if you have they have not been on any of these shows. So
I mean, technically Wes has.
Yeah, Wes, and we mention Jake quite
And we talk
often.
about Jake a lot because he's usually in the comments. So
That's
like,
very true. That is very true.
so Jason's
And
the only fucker who hasn't had anything to do with this. So
I'm sure we mentioned Jason at one point in time. But either way, you get to know them and get to see me do some cool shit over in video games. Primarily Apex. Season 10 starts August 3rd. Really excited. But yeah,
now
that's
who's
what's up,
moist?
Timmy.
Yeah, speaking of Jason, though, I mention his ass every
Oh,
week,
there we
and
go.
that is because you can check me, him, and Kevin out on the Gimmick Minute Wrestling Podcast, where we shoot the shit on what's going on in the ridiculous world of wrestling that week. And if you want to support us here on our channel, as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more weekly news and toy reviews. And check us out on twitch.tv/Modern Toy Fair every Wednesday night. All three of us, me, Jamar, and Nate, for our Wednesday night weekly purchases where we show off what shit we wasted money on this week. And you can also click the link below for tpublic.com, and I have all sorts of shirts and mugs and stuff that you can get with our logos on them, and also other stuff that I've made in the good old Photoshop machine. And hit the little bell if you enjoy our phases, because you'll get notifications when our videos go up. We have Modern Toy Fair reviews on Mondays and Modern Toy Fair news on Fridays. And stay tuned, because we'll be having some changes here soon, and including some new shows like Modern Toy Therapy. So keep an eye out for that. And if you don't like our faces, there is an audio-only version of Modern Toy Fair news available on Spotify, Pocket Cast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and other podcast apps you know and love. So make sure to check that out, and we will see you next week. Same toy time, same Toy Fair channel. And make sure to check out part 2.